Hi there, students. Railroad. Railroad. Okay, a railroad as a countable noun, or as a verb to railroad somebody into doing something. Well, firstly, a railroad is a railway system, a system of tracks and stations and trains. But the Americans use this word, a railroad. As a Brit, I would use the word railway. Yeah, a railway station, a railway line. I think an American might say a railroad station, a railroad timetable. He worked on the railroad for 20 years. Now, the Americans, well, the Brits as well, also have this verb to railroad, to force something to happen, to force somebody to do something, particularly by pressing for undue haste, to pressurize somebody into doing something, to get somebody to do something quickly and probably unfairly. So the salesman tried to railroad me into signing the contract, but I wasn't ready to do it. Okay, to push somebody into doing something, to force something to happen quickly. The lawyer claimed that the police had railroaded his client into confessing something that the client hadn't done. So to force somebody into doing something. The lawyer said that his client had been railroaded into accepting things that he shouldn't have accepted. Okay, so to railroad somebody into a decision, to rush somebody into doing something. Come on, quick, sign this, and then we'll go and get a drink. Yeah, it's to push, to coerce, to force, to pressurize, but by adding speed, by making a rush of it, to procedurally bully somebody into an unfair agreement, to not give somebody time to consider something properly, to rush or to push something through a meeting. So he tried to railroad an agreement through the board of directors. Okay, it's got this idea of trying to do something very quickly with undue haste, so that people don't have time to think about it, to push something through hastily and quickly so that people can't think about it properly and they just say yes. Or you can also use to railroad is to convict somebody by using false charges or insufficient evidence. So the police didn't really have enough evidence, but they railroaded him. He was railroaded. Somebody was convicted by false charges, by insufficient evidence. This is the idea of to railroad somebody. You railroad somebody into doing something. You make them do it even though they don't really want to do it. And you do this by hurrying them, by putting pressure on them. So they railroaded her into selling her land. They railroaded the reforms through Congress. I refuse to be railroaded into accepting this. It doesn't seem fair to me. The workers were railroaded into signing the agreement. He tried to railroad the plan through the board of directors. The government railroaded the reforms through without discussing them properly. he tried to railroad Europe into accepting the euro without due thought about it. I was railroaded into selling my car. I will not be railroaded into signing something I don't agree with. Okay, so to railroad as well, to convict somebody without due process, to send somebody to prison without a fair trial. So he was railroaded, he was falsely accused. Okay, so this is another idea, to railroad, to find somebody guilty with insufficient evidence. Okay, so to rail someone, to force someone into doing something with when they haven't had enough time to decide, or to railroad, to be convicted without due process, without enough evidence. Okay, so maybe the status quo railroaded him. In a dictatorship, very often the people who protest, people who rebel against the system, are railroaded. Yeah, they're sent to prison on charges that are ridiculous, and then again to railroad, to approve something officially without very much discussion, without really thinking about things. Okay, so to railroad. The president railroaded a special interest bill through Congress to rush or push something through, to stop due consideration, to stop criticism and obstruction, or to convict a person without a trial, or to convict somebody on trumped up charges. Okay, to trump up, to invent charges. And this is the idea of to railroad. Okay, I was railroaded into doing this. They railroaded. I think I'm going to give it a 4.5 in formality. Use informally, using the semi-formal conversation, semi-formal writing. The opposition leader was railroaded into prison. This, I think, is less formal. I think I'd probably give this a 3.5. And then as to origin, well, it's the rail that takes you from one place to another. And I guess the railroad moves quickly without any stops. So enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. To railroad somebody into doing something. To railroad somebody. A railroad.